Hi, everyone. This is Paula Harris, and I have with me Dr. Andrew Allgood this morning from Augusta, Georgia. How you doing, Dr. Allgood?
Oh, fantastic, Paula. Just living the life.
Yeah, that's the truth, isn't it?
It is.
These days, it really is. Well, I am so honored to have you on the call, and I'm excited to talk about your transition. You recently sold your practice a few months ago, and it's just been one of the best, smoothest transitions I've ever heard of. So I wanted you to share that with everyone, and
Sure.
some advice, some pearls of wisdom, some things you learned through the process. But first, why don't you tell us a little bit about your practice, how you got started, how many years, the type of practice you had?
Oh, Lordy. Okay. I started thinking about that this morning, Paula. Okay, Paula's going to be calling, and I look back, and it's hard to believe that I started a private practice in 1975.
Wow, 1975. Wow.
Yeah, I started that in a small town in Georgia. And so I actually had been through two transitions.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this practice in this small town, and I brought in, when I was ready to start a new practice here in Martinez, Augusta, Georgia, I brought in someone that I felt like would be good to purchase that practice, and went through that with the doctor being an associate for about a year, and then we worked through the sale of that. So I've been through a couple of transitions.
That's right.
The most recent with Dr. Lopez here with my practice in Martinez. It's something, the first transition I went through, I knew it was not going to be my final transition.
Right. Yeah.
And this last one that I went through, I figured it's going to be my final transition. I'm over. I had my 71st birthday in July, along with a hip replacement.
Yeah.
So it's been a great July. But that I had been actually wanting someone to come in for my practice, because it's a fee-for-service practice. I want someone that did not want to go into corporate dentistry.
Yeah.
That had some implant training, that type of thing. And fortunately, I'm located in the area with the dental school here in Augusta, and so actually, what occurred is Dr. Lopez came to me, and
right.
And that was, gosh, Paula, he had not graduated from dental school,
right?
And plus he was going to go into a general practice residency, which to me that was an ideal situation, because the GPR, they learn more implants, they get a lot more experience and all, and so that's actually what I was hoping to have for my practice.
Well, you're an amazing VisionCaster, and just what you said a minute ago about this is what you wanted, and that's exactly what came to you. It goes back to what you're looking for is looking for you.
Well, that's true. It's some of those things that you have over the years sent me. It's like you sent me a blank check. Okay, put down the dollar amount that you would like to have on that blank check when you retire. Well, guess what? I have it.
Oh my goodness! Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, so these things work out. You get what you ask for. Sometimes it's not good.
Sometimes you got to think twice about that. Yes.
Yeah, but with Dr. Lopez, as you know, we went through, gosh, even before he had graduated from dental school, knowing that it's going to be another year and a half.
Yeah.
Brought him to Christmas parties.
Yes.
Got to know the office members, our team members, because they're, it's so critical. I think that the team members are aware of the vision that the dentist has for his practice.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them get concerned, and what's going to happen? When this new doc takes over, are they going to fire us all? And
yes,
that type thing. So a lot of it is very critical with the transition is having the team members on board for it also.
Absolutely. Yes. And I love that, when I would come to your office for meetings, he would come too and just became part of the team even before he was out of school.
Yeah, and that's before he was out of the 4-year dental school.
Yeah.
And then he still had the year of the general practice residency. And so it turned out well, as far as the timelines and all, a lot of this was on your advice, getting an appraisal of the practice.
Yes.
Doing that before you bring the doctor in, because the doctor can, increase your revenue. And then if he says, well, okay, I'm buying a practice, but I'm buying some of it for what I've done to add to it. So, did an appraisal, 3 months before, and actually went ahead and worked out a purchase price before Dr. Lopez ever came on board. Now, this, of course, we both were fairly solid about what was going to happen.
Yes.
So, now the other thing is when Dr. Lopez came on board, it's one of those things. It wasn't just on bringing an associate, to take care of an overflow of patients and make extra money for me. Now, the goal was ultimately that he would have ownership of the practice, and I would wind up being an employee for a period of time, which that is what I am now. And which is okay. I'm sitting here talking to you because I told him I wanted the day off.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. I love what you just said right there, that this wasn't to bring an associate to take care of overflow and make extra money for yourself, because this is what I'm hearing from the younger dentists, the associates that are coming in the practices. One called me a couple of weeks ago crying, as a female dentist, that all she was getting, she has a GPR, and all she's getting is Medicaid.
Yeah, that's not good.
And they don't want that, and they're on to that game. They want to be a valued. One associate kept repeating to me, "I want to be treated as an equal." She kept saying that over and over and over. And although that's not 100% possible when you're still learning and growing, it's that mindset of, hey, you're my underling employee. You do all the fillings and things I don't want to do, and let me make the big money.
Yeah, that's something that if you're just looking at it as an associate, excuse me, and not is there taking ownership of the practice, that's one thing. But what I did with Dr. Lopez, and I think this is very critical. If you're bringing someone in that you want to purchase your practice, you have to look at it, and actually the possibility of having a lowering of your income for that year, and so that they have a good idea of what their income can be if they own the practice.
Oh, say that again.
Well, yeah. Sometimes you have to lose a little money short term to have a good situation long term with the associate, hopefully purchaser of the practice. They have to see that they're able to actually make enough money to pay for the practice.
Yes, exactly. That's an awesome point and well said. And a lot of doctors don't get that. That's why I asked you to repeat it. So it's important we consider that before we bring somebody in.
Well, it definitely is. Like I say, if you are, let's say you're 75% certain that you want this person to purchase your practice, and they're 75% certain that they want to be the owner of your practice, and you've got to take care of them. And you got, number one, you actually have to have confidence in them also. Yes. That's why getting the right person in and taking the time, talking with them about the continuing education, the type of degree that you want performed in your practice, that type of thing. It's not just say, okay, here you go, come in and you can do all these fillings and be happy with it. It doesn't work that way.
Absolutely.
You have someone that has a GPR. They've gone an extra step for their education. Well, and anybody, if they're coming straight out of dental school, they have definitely taken an extra step for their education.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
So you got to take care of the folks and respect them for what they know.
I like that. And they have loans. And, and that's the big buzz. Everyone has loans. And we just want to make sure that they can see with their budget how they're going to be able to make that payment when they buy the practice. So that is absolutely right. And one thing about you, Dr. Allgood, I've known you for so many years, and you and Bev are just friends for me and Michael. We're just good friends, I believe. But you are a good businessman, and you've always been knowledgeable about your overhead and what's going on in your business. You know your business. So I see that also as a challenge for a lot of practices where the doctor doesn't really know the condition of their overhead, where the money's going. They know what's in the checkbook, but not the guidelines, the percentages, and then they're bringing in an associate and that extra pay, and they can't pay their bills, etc.
Right. Yeah, you got to be careful of that. And that's, of course, I've got QuickBooks, so you can pull up percentages and show the prospective doctor if you feel confident that it'll be confidential from your overhead. You can also show them things. Oh man, yeah, that's something. I took that vacation and I visited a dental office in Hawaii. Yeah, so I wrote it off. I didn't do that. I haven't been to Hawaii.
Yeah.
I'd like to go. Now maybe I can go there.
Now maybe you can.
but it's you've got to make them aware really of what the overhead is, and the only way to do that is if you know what it is yourself.
Exactly.
And have a good handle on it. So,
and I think they want that. The doctors, the associates want to know, for the most part, what is going on with the business. It helps them in their decision.
Well, for certain, like you were talking about, they've got the loans out there. What is it? The average for a dental student graduating is like $250,000
or more. Yeah.
And that's a pretty big pop. I don't know, when I graduated and started my first practice, I borrowed $35,000.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, $35,000 won't pay for the furniture in the office now.
I know. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's for sure.
Glorious day when I got that paid off.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different circumstances, and each individual that's coming out of dental school has different circumstances. Some have a lot have already married and have kids. Dr. Lopez is married and already had a little 2-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And she's 3, and they've added another one.
Yes.
So I'm sitting there, okay, all right, these are responsibilities, and he's been willing to do that because he sees the viability of the practice.
Yes, that's exactly right.
And he's doing well.
Mm-hmm. He is. He's doing extremely well. It's just amazing. I'm so thankful for that. But part of that is your mentorship within the practice. I want to go back to overhead for just a second, the vacation write-offs, things like that. This is another point of confusion for the selling doctor and the buying doctor, is what is real overhead, because the P&L is what's allowable for all your expenses, and most CPAs want to get that to zero to show you have no profit for tax purposes. Right. And there are things we're allowed to write off, but may not be in the buying doctor's real overhead. So sometimes in the transition, it's good to pull those things out and say, well, this was my expense. It's allowable that I put in here, but yours may be different.
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's like, I'm a member of a hunting club. Mm-hmm. Well, of course, the only reason I've joined that hunting club is so that I can talk to the members about becoming members of our practice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
I'm sure.
That maybe as many animals as I've gotten out of that hunting club, that might be the only benefit that I've gotten with my success lately.
Right.
But, different things. You got your home phones, that you use for emergencies. You got the automobile expenses that you use, but you've got to grade those, to and from the office, or is it after you get to the office? This is where having a good accountant really helps out. One thing that when we did the appraisal, right, we had to go over these things actually with the person that was working on the appraisal.
Yes.
Because they see X number of dollars and for automobile expense or for consultation expense, that type thing. And you got to go over that with the person doing the appraisal also.
Who did your appraisal? Can you share who? Was it a CPA? It was not a transition firm. This is another question I get a lot.
No, actually, it was a transition firm.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah, because they will, as a matter of fact, is Southeastern Transitions. What they will do is they will actually do an appraisal without being a broker.
Oh, okay.
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 All right. I think my appraisal was like $2,500.
Okay.
And which is, to me, I thought was a bargain.
That is definitely a bargain, and very difficult to find a transition company that will do that without doing the whole deal.
Sure.
I know we talked about different ways you can have a CPA do it, or a supply company, or a transition company. Of course, the supply companies refer to a transition company. So, well, good. So you got that clarified and you were pleased with your appraisal, the first one.
Yeah, I was. That's and most of them, just like you and I talked about, most of the time the appraisals are going to come out about 80% of a year's gross, and that's about what mine was. And that and then what I did for Dr. Lopez is, I think I feel free to share this, is because there was not a broker involved. There was not that percent of a broker being involved. I reduced the sale price by that figure of what the broker's commission would have been.
Oh, yeah.
So he was happy about that.
Yes, I'm sure he was.
Yeah, and it's turned out super. As you know, the timing. So the practice, he took ownership March 1st. Well, I wound up having to have a triple bypass March 21st. And so I was able to go ahead and get my heart fixed. Yeah. And then I had a hip replacement on July the 2nd. So I've had 13 weeks off since he purchased the practice.
Nothing like getting it rolling. Oh, man. And that's amazing, because he became an associate in July. Of 2018, and bought, because that was sooner than expected, which was a blessing for you to be able to go through these two major surgeries.
That's right. Originally, our paperwork and our agreement called for 1 year. Year. Well, then he's a millennial. They're a little different from us baby boomers.
Yeah.
And he was ready to buy the practice after 6 months.
Yes.
He saw the profit, saw how much money he was making, but it wound up being the end of February, the 1st of March, and which turned out great for me, with everything. But Will has he's got a lot of business acumen. Of course, I going over with overhead, talking with him about the office members, the team members, how to handle them. Yeah. And we're still going through all of that.
Oh, yes.
So, I got 45 years of experience, some of it good, some of it bad. And so he's helping him out. A lot of times it's better to show somebody what you did wrong than what you did right.
They can learn from that. That's very true.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about some of that mentoring. In the time that he was associate, from July to March when he bought, tell me what a typical day was like when you're both in the office together, because you didn't really expand hours a whole lot, but you stayed together during the day. Did y'all talk during the day? Was he open to your mentorship? How did that go?
Oh, Dr. Lopez, very open to the mentorship. And at the same time, I was very willing to give him free rein on a lot of things,
Yes.
coming in, if he was working with a patient that I'd known for years, introducing him to that patient.
Mm-hmm.
And it's real easy to say, yeah, if I brought somebody in younger, but also smarter, and pass these words along to the patient and helps him out. And also, Dr. Lopez he's got a lot of good skills with implants and crown and bridge and all that. A lot of that was helping him with, when you're looking at occlusion type thing.
Yes.
Why certain patients are having certain issues, that. And it's just worked out well because he was so receptive.
Yes. That's a huge point right there. And I think a lot of doctors bring in an associate to save them time. I'm too busy. But you really invested time in him. And I think that was an important piece of this, don't you?
Well, I think so, Paula. Because it's invested time and working with the patients with him, different things, working with the team members. You've got I felt like what I needed to do was to work with him and talk with him about things, but also get him to show me some things. We got the CT scan equipment in, and so he showed me because of the CT work that they had done at the graduate program, he was able to show me some of the things about the anatomy, the mandibular canals, and all sorts of things like that. So it actually was sort of a joint effort.
That's great.
Yeah.
And then now here's another question, if you don't mind me asking. Marketing. I have associates who'll tell me, well, since I joined this practice, the doctor really hasn't promoted me. And so tell us what you did. You hired a marketing firm.
Yeah, we did. And the first thing that happened is, I don't know, we had him in the practice for Dr. Lopez has been with the practice for about 2 or 3 weeks. We had a big event welcoming him into the practice. And the invitations went out to a lot of the dental professionals in the area and the patients and all. And we had a pretty big event to announce his coming in.
That was a wonderful event. I was so thrilled I could be there. Yes.
You were there. You were handing out all sorts of educational stuff. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
that turned out well, and a lot of it is getting the community to know him. It's there's an endodontist in town who you know.
Yes.
And another endodontist was talking with Dr. Lopez about the reason that that particular endodontist was so well known is because he makes himself heard.
Yes.
So, like we've done the Ask the Dentist for years on the radio, which has turned out well. Well, now Dr. Lopez is doing that in conjunction with me now. And so, yeah, the marketing firm sort of still an ongoing process of getting the website redone, different things. But Dr. Lopez has sort of taken the marketing to another level now since he's purchased practice, and the marketing to some of the independent living facilities, using this marketing firm to take different things to these facilities or to the pediatric dental office, different things.
Yes.
Another year, we're going to want Dr. Lopez to be on a call talking about marketing and how he's gotten his name out there.
Yes.
We've helped him a lot practice, but at the same time, he's taking it to another level.
And he's been willing too. I mean, this isn't all you having to market him. He's been out there, his wife and himself, on social media promoting the practice. Lots of pictures of their family. It's just very welcoming, and he's done a great job. I mean, he's naturally gifted with a good personality, but he and his wife both have done a great job getting the name out there. And I think another thing that's a point to make here is Dr. Lopez expanded the skill set in your practice. He wasn't just riding your coattails on what you would give him, but he expanded some things that you were referring out.
Yeah, because I'd referred out all implants. Of course, I would restore the implants, but he's been placing the implants, different things, and it's worked out really well. Worked out really well. It's it's helped increase his production. And also the patients are, oh, you mean I don't have to go to the oral surgeons for this? Well,
Yeah.
Is a fantastic surgeon himself, and it's really helped. He's done other things. He also did the thing with the Leukemia Society, where there was a Man of the Year contest.
Yes.
That type of thing. So it's all of that. Getting involved with the Chamber of Commerce, and just making yourself heard.
That's right. That's right.
I think that's a good motto. So.
It is. It really is a good motto. And so tell us a little bit, we've got to close here in just a minute, but just how has the team accepted him?
Oh, I tell you what, that's one of the biggest things that we worked on initially.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, if the team doesn't know what you're thinking and what's going on, they're going to be suspicious and to think, okay, what's happening? Is he bringing somebody on? And like I said, are they going to fire me?
Yeah.
I need job security, that type thing. So a lot of it initially, when you were there, he was still in dental school. You came on a visit, and he came. We were going over verbal skills. We were, the big toolbox at that meeting. And so they were very receptive. Had he and his wife out to the Christmas party at my house. And so they knew him before he came on.
Right.
And they also knew that this was going to be something that the practice was going to still be stable. We were going to continue with the type of practice that we have.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do any of the managed care stuff. And a lot of dentists around say, "Gosh, how do you not join all these plans?"
Yes.
Well, there's one way you don't join them: you don't sign the paperwork.
Yeah.
That's pretty simple.
Yeah.
But then what you're doing is you are taking your practice and you're making it. The perception is your practice is at a higher level than the other practices in the area.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah, we talked about that in the past, and so that. We think about what percentage of people are not on managed care plans. It's 40, 50%.
Yeah.
So what the heck?
Exactly.
Are you going to target the managed care folks where you lower your fees? Oh, God, I don't mind taking 30% less. I'll see 30% more patients, so I'll lose $50 instead of making a profit,
Yeah, right. I know you really have to do the math with that.
Nope.
Well, let me ask you, Dr. Allgood, about your future. I mean, everyone needs purpose in life, and you've always been on purpose and wonderful mentor to other doctors. Where are you going now? Have you thought much about that? Anything you want to tell us?
Well, I have thought about it. I've talked with you about it a little bit, Paula. I love the mentoring.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually worked a little bit, not as long as I should, having 13 weeks off or whatever it's been, working on some different ways to help dentists with their overhead, with their scheduling, working with their verbal skills, that's where you certainly come in.
Mm-hmm.
I'd even like to, at some point, although I don't want it to be something that I do all the time, I wouldn't mind presenting with you some, actually.
Yeah. We've done that in the past.
Yeah, we have, and it's fun.
It is fun.
And it's one of those things where my situation now, my financial situation is in pretty good shape. Where I don't make a lot of money doing that.
Yeah.
But that, which is good, like we were talking about on our mastermind. I finally figured out the third part of that. It's dance like nobody's looking. All right.
Yes.
Work like you don't need the money, and the third thing was love like you've never been hurt.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Because with that, even with patients, we get so protective. It's like, oh gosh, I'm not going to tell that patient that they got all these cracks and they're going to lose their teeth if they do something about it, because they might tell me no.
Yes, that's right.
So that goes back with our dental practices too. So
absolutely.
Anyway,
well, this is wonderful. Do you want to give out any contact information the website, or do you want to give out an email address, or what would be something you would want to share?
Well, I'll share whatever. I'll give my email address that I'm using now.
Okay.
Which is Allgood Doc, ALLGOD Doc @gmail.com.
Okay.
And also my cell phone. I don't mind giving that out.
Okay.
It's 706-394-5451.
All right.
And I'd be willing to talk with anybody that's looking at the possibility of transition, whether they're a new dentist coming in or someone that has the practice that they want to slowly move out of, or
Absolutely.
whatever.
Right. Wonderful. Well, I just appreciate you taking time to share today your story. I've been excited about it for a while, and waiting for you to get through your 13 weeks there. And
I've actually worked 2 days this week now.
Awesome. Well, I just care about you a lot, our friendship, you and Bev, and appreciate all you've brought to dentistry, the wonderful example you are, and you've got that dental school right there close to you. You've gone through the ranks in the Dental Society in Georgia several years ago, so you know your stuff. You have a lot of experience, a lot of success to share. So thank you for being willing to be a mentor and being out there for other doctors who really could use your support and listen to your story. So thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Well, as Walter Haley said, happy to do it.
That's right. We all are. Well, thank you, Dr. Allgood. We'll talk with you soon.
Well, thank you so much, Paula. You have a wonderful week.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.